Over the past 5 years, book clubs became a very popular venture for many celebrities. This can be so they can enhance their cultural capital, or some of them it's quite literally a business venture. It's something they make a lot of money out of, or in the cases of some celebrities, it is just a way so they can have access to really good books and they can print their name on the cover of the book, and they can use the leverage of having this book club and advertising this book on their book club, so they can have dibs on the story and on the script from this book, so they can adapt it to the screen. The latter one is basically how Reese's book club works, and today I thought about reading some of the books recommended by a celebrity book club, more specifically Reese's book club. Over the years, I read quite a few books recommended by celebrity book clubs, either because I knew it was recommended by a celebrity book club or just had no idea. And I think, if I remember correctly, Reese Witherspoon's book club, it's one of the ones I read the most out of, and if I remember correctly, I enjoyed quite a bit of the books she recommends. There are also quite a bit of the Reese Witherspoon's book club weeks on my TBR that I didn't necessarily pick it up because it was recommended by Reese Witherspoon. But today we are reading on purpose books recommended by Reese's book club just to check out if, it is worth the hype. So I decided to pick up two books that have already been on my TBR and also have been on my list of books I want to read someday. The first one, it's a more recent pick. It's a pick from the 2023 and it is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. And I'm not 100% sure what this book is about. From what I've heard and read about this book, it is about a woman who steals the manuscript of her late friend, and then she tries to pretend being Asian in order to be able to sell this manuscript. And then the second book we are going to read for this video, it's an older pick. It is from 2019 and it is called The Whisper Network, and from what I know about this book, I think it is a take on the Me Too movement. I'm not 100% sure because as of the time I'm filming this intro, I still haven't read the books. But let's get to reading and let's see if Reese's book club picks are indeed worth the hype. So I currently 60% through reading Yellowface, so I have a feeling I can already tell you what it is. It definitely isn't exactly what I thought it was, but it's quite close. So in Yellowface we follow June Hayward, and she's an author. Her debut novel wasn't very successful, but she was friendly with this very successful Asian author called Athena. And one day while they are hanging out at her house, Athena ends up choking on a pancake and dying. And our main character, June, she witnessed everything. And she's not considered a suspect because Athena choked. But the thing is, while June was in Athena's apartment, she finds this manuscript for a very promising novel, and everything Athena ever wrote turned into a bestseller, but this particular novel seems to be just the extra level of literary greatness. So June, being June, she decides to steal the manuscript because also no one has ever heard of this manuscript, knows what this manuscript is about, because Athena, she was a very secretive person. So June decides to take this manuscript for herself, finish the story, polish the story, and sell it as her own. And because this manuscript is a story about Chinese laborers during the World War I, June's editor and team, they decide to do some tweaks to her personal image by doing things like change her name. She used to write under the name of June Hayward, now she writes under the name of Juniper Song, which technically are her first and middle name, but it is just Asian sounding enough to be able to pass it as Asian for readers that are not aware. She's a white woman. Her author portrait, that photo of the author at the end of the book, they just take in a light that makes her look a little bit more Asian, but not exactly Asian. She's still white, but it is definitely Asian passing, and she never openly says she's Asian, but they just leave that seed of a doubt. And the book is basically following her journey of getting this manuscript, of working on this manuscript, what happens afterward, all her paranoia that comes from the fact that she stole the original idea, but also it is a very interesting book to read. It's very interesting to be in her head, because at a lot of times she's very wrong, but there are other moments where it's not exactly 100% wrong, but at the same time she's very wrong. Her takes on life, her takes on what she did, it's interesting to say the least. It's definitely a book that feels like you are reading some sort of, like, not exactly a tabloid, but it's one of those stories that if you saw on a tabloid you would eat it up. And all the repercussions, the people surrounding her, this book, it's so fascinating, it's so interesting in a way I wasn't expecting. I did hear great things about this book before, and I already had some sort of high expectations that I would at least like this book, but this book is just so different from what I was expecting, and in a good way. And so far I'm just enjoying all the crazy that's going on, and the characters also surrounding her, oh my god. This book is basically a commentary on the bookish space, not only in publishing but also in terms of the fans and the online community, and it is just so fascinating to read about. Also the way Kuang wrote this book, it is just so good. I'm really enjoying her writing style and the way she's telling the story, and so far it definitely is convincing me to read more books by this author. And yes, I just want to go back into this book. We are having some conflicts. I have a theory about what might happen, but let's just see if my theory comes true. But I can't tell you the theory, otherwise I will give you major spoilers. But so far I'm really enjoying it, and let's just get to finishing it, because I really want to know what happens next. So I finished reading Yellowface, and while I really loved this book, everything I said in the previous clip still holds up, but I ended up giving this book 4 stars. And the only reason why I gave this book 4 stars and not a half star more, it's because of the ending. The ending, it started to get a little bit like, what the fuck? Derogatory. I get what the author was trying to accomplish, but for me it just didn't work. It went a little bit too crazy, a little bit on kind of obvious, but also the characters ended up turning into more and more of characters of themselves, and just the ending, the last 3 chapters, it started taking a turn that it was just not it, babe. But everything else about this book, I really loved it. I loved the writing, I loved the storytelling, I loved the themes, and it kind of opens your eyes to some things that might seem obvious, but we are not thinking about it on a daily basis. And it definitely talks about some hard, uncomfortable truths, but at the same time, it was just the ending, babe. It was something. It made my rating for this book a little bit lower, but everything else about this book, I really loved it. I would still recommend it. Now, when it comes to the Whisper Network, I'm currently 37% through reading this book, and so far it is a book about this group of 3 white women. One is actually, I think, Latina, but in general there are 3 white women that work in this athletic wear brand that is very cool, a very important brand, a big company they work for, and they have a very high status roles inside this company, and there is also this other executive which is higher in the hierarchy than them that have some questionable behavior. He definitely doesn't really know about boundaries in the workplace. He's very sexist and he definitely abuses his power, and he has romantic relationships with his colleagues which are inferior in the hierarchy, and he's just a very questionable person. And there is this mystery surrounding this story, which someone dies, and between chapters we have excerpts talking a little bit about what is going on, in the sense of it takes place in the form of transcripts of some kind of judgment, of some kind of trial. And so far all I know about it is that it involves someone dying. One of the girls in this group, they pass away, and also it's something related to the guy that has questionable behavior, and I think he loses his promotion because of it, or something related to his promotion, because also when we opened the book, the president, the CEO of the company, he just passed away, and there are rumors that this guy with questionable behavior, he's going to be promoted to his late boss's role. And there is also there's like an Excel document going around the city talking about with the names of the asshole guys, the guys with questionable behavior, not very appropriate behavior in the workplace, and that's so far what has happened. So the three women, they are basically, we have one that is a divorcee that kind of doesn't adhere to the beauty standards because she kind of just got tired of just adhering to the beauty standards and doing all the treatments and always being put together and needing to do her job at a high intensity, at this very demanding job, and doing it impeccably and better than her male peers, but also being a good mother. Then we have this other woman, Sloane, who she adheres to the beauty standards. She always looks put together and she really kind of conforms to this peer pressure of being an impeccably looking woman and doing her job better than her male peers. And then we have a third woman, Grace, who she's kind of a friendly conservative in the sense that she's a more conservative woman, but she believes in like gay rights and women rights and sort of stuff, but in general she is more of a conservative, and this one definitely adheres to all the beauty standards and the societal standards for women, and she just had a baby. The book starts after she comes back from maternity leave, and it's interesting to see her POV and seeing her more like conservative thought process. It's something. So far I'm enjoying this book. It is definitely falling into the category of not very much hope for humans, and humans are not the most likable creatures sort of book, but so far it is okay. There is nothing that it is necessarily standing out, but also there is nothing that is bothering me about the book. It definitely feels like a portrait of a certain era, a certain time period, but not in a derogatory way. It's just a portrait of a certain time period, and so far it is really interesting to read. And let's get back to reading this book, shall we? So I finished reading The Whisper Network and ended up giving this book 4 stars. The only reason why I didn't give this book a higher rating is that it just didn't have anything that stood out to me in this book, but overall I think it is a really good book. I liked reading it, and I think it is a very relevant topic to today. I think this book is also a perfect snapshot of a moment in time, And honestly, I kind of wish this book had a little bit more hype surrounding it, because especially in the moment where we are living at and the way some people are acting, I think this book deserves way more hype. This book also has an element of a whodunit, a murder mystery sort of plot line, but this book, it's not a thriller at all. Don't go into this book hoping to find a thrilling thriller. It is just more of a general fiction. Also, there is a plot twist that it was not one of those plot twists that you can see coming, because there are definitely some Easter eggs throughout the book about this plot twist. It's just that at the same time, at least for me, I was like, wow. It's one of those plot twists that when we reached the moment where it was happening, I was kind of, oh, I didn't think about this. But at the same time, when I looked back at the plot and all the little signs there were throughout the text, yes, this plot twist, it was like a background singer. It was there. All the signs were there that would be a plot twist. But yes, overall I gave the Whisper Network 4 stars. And this is it for this video. If you liked it, leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I hope to see you very, very soon with another one. Bye!